Today, Disney is one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world. Millions of people watch Disney movies and visit Disney parks every year. But at one point, everything almost collapsed. Walt Disney lost his first animation company. He had no money, no stable job, and no clear direction for his future. Some people even said he had no imagination and no real talent. One decision nearly ended his dream before it truly began. So what exactly went wrong, and how did he recover from it? Today, you will learn English through the powerful and surprising story of Walt Disney. Walt Disney's early journey began with a big dream and a small company. In the early 1920s, he started a small animation studio called Laugh-O-Gram Studio in Kansas City. At that time, animation was still new, and very few people understood its potential. But Disney believed that cartoons could become something much bigger. He and his small team created short animated films. These films were creative and full of energy. They told simple stories with humor and imagination. People who saw them liked the style and ideas. From the outside, everything looked promising. But behind the scenes, there were serious problems. Disney had strong creative ideas, but he had very limited experience in business. He did not fully understand how to manage money, contracts, or long-term planning. Instead of focusing on financial stability, he focused almost completely on creativity. He spent a lot of money on improving the quality of the animations. He wanted the films to look better and feel more alive. He paid attention to small details, even when the company did not have enough income. At the same time, he did not carefully control the company's expenses. He did not build a strong financial plan. He did not prepare for difficult situations. And he did not have a clear system to make sure the business could survive long term. Another important decision made things worse. Disney trusted that success would come naturally if the work was good enough. He believed that if they created great stories and beautiful animations, money and recognition would follow later. He did not focus on profit. He focused on passion. At that moment, it seemed like the right decision. He wanted to create something meaningful. He wanted to build something new and exciting. He believed that creativity was more important than money. And in many ways, he was right. But there was a problem. A business cannot survive on creativity alone. Without enough income, without strong planning, and without careful decisions, even the best ideas can fail. Day by day, the financial situation became worse. The company was spending more money than it was earning. Bills began to increase. Payments became difficult. The pressure slowly started to grow. At first, Disney did not fully see the danger. He was focused on the future. He believed success was just around the corner. But reality was different. The situation was becoming unstable, and the consequences were coming closer. And soon, everything would begin to fall apart. The problems at Laugh-O-Gram Studio did not disappear. Instead, they slowly became worse. At first, it was only small financial pressure, but over time, the company began to run out of money. The studio was spending more than it earned, and there were not enough clients to support the business. Payments were delayed, income became unstable, and the situation gradually turned serious. Walt Disney could no longer pay his employees on time. Some of them stayed for a while because they believed in his vision, but belief alone was not enough to keep the company alive. Bills continued to grow, costs increased, and the company had no strong financial support. Eventually, the studio went bankrupt, and Laugh-O-Gram Studio had to close. For Walt Disney, this was a painful and difficult moment. His first big dream had failed, and everything he had worked for seemed to disappear. But the problems did not end with the company's closure. After losing his business, he also faced serious personal struggles. He had very little money left, and could not afford a stable place to live. At times, he struggled to buy food, and did not know what would happen next. Life became uncertain, and his future was unclear. This was not just a business failure. It became a personal crisis that affected every part of his life. At the same time, the emotional pressure was very strong. People around him began to doubt his ability. Some said his ideas were not practical, while others believed he focused too much on imagination and not enough on reality. Many people simply stopped believing in him. Rejection became something he faced again and again. When he tried to move forward, he met closed doors. When he looked for new opportunities, the answer was often no. This created frustration and self-doubt. He began to question himself. Was he making the wrong decisions? Was his dream too unrealistic? Did he really have the talent to succeed? These were difficult questions, and there were moments when everything felt uncertain. There were also moments of loneliness. The team he once worked with was gone, and the company he built no longer existed. He had to face his situation alone. For many people, this would have been the end. Many would choose to give up after such a complete failure. This was not just one mistake, it was a total collapse. He lost his company, his financial stability, and his first major opportunity. Everything had to start again from zero. This was one of the lowest points in his life. At that moment, Walt Disney stood at a difficult crossroads. He could accept defeat and stop trying, or he could take the risk and try again. But trying again would not be easy. He had no money, no strong support, and his past failure was still very fresh in his mind. However, something inside him did not disappear. Even after everything he lost, he still believed in storytelling. He still believed in animation. He still believed that his ideas had value. This belief was small, but it was still there. Slowly, a new thought began to form. If he could not succeed here, maybe he could start somewhere new. If one path failed, perhaps another path was waiting. He began to think about leaving Kansas City and searching for new opportunities. One place stood out, Hollywood. At that time, Hollywood was becoming the center of the film industry, a place where new ideas and new chances were growing. It was a risk, and there was no guarantee of success, but staying where he was meant staying in failure. Moving forward meant facing uncertainty. So he made a decision. He packed what little he had, held on to his dream, and left for Hollywood. He was not successful yet. He was not famous or rich. He was simply a young man who had failed, but was not ready to give up. What he did next would change everything. But first, he would face another mistake, one even bigger than the first. The real problem was not just the failure, it was how he was thinking. After moving to Hollywood, Walt Disney did not give up. He started again with new energy and new ideas. Slowly, things began to improve. He worked with his brother Roy and started building a new animation business. This time, he was more careful, but he was still learning. Then, he created a new cartoon character called Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Oswald quickly became popular, and it looked like Disney was finally moving in the right direction. The character brought attention, and the business started to grow. But there was a serious problem that Disney did not fully understand at that time. He did not own the rights to Oswald. The character legally belonged to the distributor, not to Disney himself. This meant that even though he created Oswald, he did not have full control over it. At first, everything seemed fine. Disney continued working, producing cartoons, and building his reputation. But when he tried to negotiate a better deal, the situation suddenly changed. The distributor refused his request and made a shocking decision. Disney not only lost the rights to Oswald, but he also lost most of his team. Many of his animators were taken away and offered contracts by the distributor. In a very short time, everything changed again. Disney lost his main character. He lost his team. And once again, he was forced to start over. This was not just a business problem. It was a deeper mistake. Disney had trusted others too easily. He focused strongly on creativity, but he did not pay enough attention to ownership and control. He believed that creating something great was enough. But in reality, understanding contracts, rights, and business structure was just as important. He also underestimated the importance of protecting his work. He gave his energy to building something valuable, but he did not secure it. And because of that, he lost it. The emotional impact was very strong. For the second time, Disney faced a major loss. It was not just about money. It was about losing something he created. Losing Oswald felt like losing a part of his identity. He had worked hard to build the character, and now it was gone. He also felt betrayed. People he worked with were no longer on his side. The team he trusted was no longer there. This made the situation even more painful. It felt like starting from zero again. Many people in this situation would stop. After failing once and then losing everything again, it would be easy to give up. It would be easy to believe that success was not possible. But this moment also revealed something important. Sometimes failure is not just about bad luck. It is about what we do not understand. Disney began to realize that creativity alone was not enough. To succeed, he needed to think differently. He needed to understand both art and business. He needed to protect his ideas and control his work. This painful experience became a powerful lesson. And this time, when he started again, he would not make the same mistake. After losing Oswald and his team, Walt Disney faced one of the most difficult moments in his life. But this time, something was different. He had already experienced failure once, and now he understood more clearly what had gone wrong. Instead of giving up, he decided to try again, but with a new mindset. During a train journey back from New York to California, Disney began thinking about a new character. He needed something original, something that he could fully own and control. Slowly, an idea started to form. It was a simple character, but full of personality. That idea became Mickey Mouse. This decision changed everything. Instead of focusing only on creativity, Disney also began to think more carefully about ownership and long-term control. He made sure that this time, the character belonged to him. He learned from his past mistake and refused to repeat it. This time, he made a different decision. He worked closely with his team to develop Mickey Mouse into something special. The character was not just another cartoon figure. Mickey had emotion, energy, and a unique charm that made people feel connected to him. Disney wanted audiences to not only watch the character, but to enjoy and remember him. But Disney did not stop there. He wanted to do something new that no one had done before. At that time, most animated films were silent. They had no sound, no voice, and no music that matched the action. Disney believed he could change that. So he took another risk. In 1928, he released a short animated film called Steamboat Willie. This film featured Mickey Mouse, but it also introduced something revolutionary: synchronized sound. The music and sound effects matched the movements on screen. For audiences at that time, this was something completely new and exciting. The result was immediate. People loved it. Steamboat Willie became a huge success, and Mickey Mouse quickly became one of the most popular cartoon characters in the world. For the first time, Disney was not just surviving, he was succeeding. But the most important change was not just the success itself. It was how Disney had changed. He had learned from his mistakes. Before, he focused only on creating something beautiful. Now, he understood that success required both creativity and strategy. He paid more attention to business decisions, legal rights, and long-term planning. He also became more aware of the importance of control. He made sure that his work, his characters, and his ideas were protected. This allowed him to build something stable and lasting. At the same time, he did not lose his creative spirit. He continued to imagine new ideas, new stories, and new ways to entertain people. But now, his creativity was supported by stronger thinking and better decisions. This balance became the key to his success. Disney's recovery was not fast or easy. It was the result of learning, adapting, and changing. He did not simply try again in the same way. He improved the way he thought and worked. And because of that, everything began to grow. Mickey Mouse became the foundation of something much bigger. It was not just a character, it was the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where Disney would build one of the most influential entertainment companies in the world. What once looked like failure had become a lesson. And that lesson became the turning point that changed his life forever. Walt Disney's story is not just about success. It is about mistakes, failure, and the courage to try again. His journey shows us that mistakes are not the end. In fact, they can become the beginning of something better. When Disney lost his first company, and later lost Oswald, it felt like everything was over. But those moments helped him understand what he needed to change. Failure teaches better decisions. Disney learned that creativity alone was not enough. He needed to think about business, ownership, and long-term strategy. Because of these lessons, he made smarter choices later in his career. Success also requires learning and adaptation. Disney did not repeat the same mistakes. He changed the way he worked, the way he planned, and the way he protected his ideas. This ability to adapt helped him grow stronger after each failure. Another important lesson is that creativity needs protection and strategy. Great ideas are valuable, but they must be managed carefully. Disney learned how to balance imagination with smart decisions, and this balance became the key to his success. Now, let's practice speaking together. Repeat after me. I learn from my mistakes. Failure helps me grow. I can change my decisions. Try to say these sentences slowly and clearly. Pause the video if you need more time, and repeat them again. Now, take a moment to think about your own life. What is one mistake that changed your life? You can write your answer in the comments below. Sharing your experience can help you reflect and also inspire others. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Legend Stories English to continue learning English through powerful real-life stories.